Here we are, back at it again, my friends. So, let's see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
I was 15 in the game, for you not to even know my name. I done came from the bottom, but now I'm on top, and I promise to give you everything that I got. Gotta know what it means to you, what it means.
All right, so we let's see what's been popping. We have Trap Lord Ross. He dropped a video talking about King Von, the rapper, as a serial killer. Now, see, that to me it just is clickbaity, which is good because it got the response that he's looking for. But you have to ask yourself, does a person truly believe this? Right? When someone puts out information, do they truly believe it, or are they just going after the views? They just going after clicks. And a part of me, you just have to go with the obvious, that it's about clicks. It's about, all right, we're taking a product and we're rebranding the product. Do we truly believe that there's anything different about this product? And I feel like no. Right? But he's pretending, and that's how I feel. I feel like he's pretending to believe that King Von was a serial killer. And his video is King Von, hip hop's first serial killer. And like I said, for those of you who are not aware of King Von was an American rapper, come from the streets, has allegedly killed 7 people. But really, when you look at it, I see it as a story of revenge and war. Like his alleged bodies would be based off of revenge and war. There's a larger picture at hand that I think that we may touch on because it came to me as I was going down the road of AI, right? As I was going down this road of AI, then this A/B testing of Black American genocide, it just became more prevalent and more illuminated, right? Illuminating. It became more illuminating as I was looking down these first few waves of AI, the AI introduction starting during 2010 to 2012, which coincides with the Chicago bloodbath. That's what I'm calling it, the Chicago bloodbath. But we can say that 2010 to 2012 would be the beginning of the next wave of Black American genocide. Right now, we're gonna get to that, but I think that's where the King Von thing, where it sits in there, that King Von and Black Americans are victim to the first digital wave of Black American genocide. Now, we also have, and I think I spoke about this a little bit, but BTB Savage, his killer, turned himself in. So he turned himself in. And there was a guy, he's a blood. And I just believe that he didn't just do it because, Omar was his brother and he just loved him so much, and he just, again, back to this revenge and war. I feel like that was money. And is there a difference? I feel like this guy, the alleged killer, I believe they have enough information to convict him, but he hasn't been convicted. But this alleged killer, he has his own family, right? So if you look at it, okay, Omar has a mom and a brother and a cousin and all of that, right? A father. Well, this killer, he has a son. Like, he has a son. Who's going to look after his son? I mean, so if you're going out there and you're going to go kill BTB Savage for disrespecting your brother, well, who's going to protect your son? Like, your son would rather you be there to help raise him than you be gone in jail, right? And I know that there's a disconnect. I understand that, because if we're talking about family, you're talking about your brother, or your brother was murdered and look, we just got to keep it real. Like, yo, your brother put himself in a position to be murdered. Now, it doesn't matter what BTB was doing. Look, he's going to interpret how he wants to interpret. But your brother, he put himself in that situation. But if you're so big on family, if you're so big on, oh, I love them, this is my brother, like, yo, then how come that doesn't extend to your son? And this is just the baby boy, but look, you're 40, you might have another son that's like 15 or 20, even 25. Look, guys in the hood get it in young. We know this. So we're speaking about the baby boy, but you might have other kids. You might have a daughter. Like, you already have obligations. You have a family who needs you. So for you to feel like, yo, I'm about to risk it all, I'm about to throw away my life for my brother, for my family. Well, what about your other family? And that's why I say that he did it for money. Because if he was so big on family and so big on, look, I gotta make sure that the family is protected and the family is not being disrespected. My mom, because they weren't real brothers, but let's say they were like blood, like true DNA brothers. And I gotta protect my mom. She's, going around knowing that her son was a hoodlum and got himself killed. Now, this guy is being boastful, taunting online, and you're going to hear this back and forth. This is like politics, and I'm not going to get into that. But the point is that if you had all of that intention and all of that love and reverence for your brother who died, then why wouldn't it transfer to the family that is living? Right? So that's why I say that, nah, man, he did that for money. He got paid. Maybe the family, somebody put a hit out and said, look, I'll give up 10 grand. Because a lot of these guys, they be acting like they making real money, and they don't have money. Even BTB Savage, even him, like, yo, he was acting like he was making all this money, like he had all this money, but he didn't. The mom said that they took 100,000 from him in cash, right? So if you got 100,000 in cash, and you believe that somebody is on you, that they setting you up, and you ask your mom, order me an Uber, order me this, order me that. Like, yo, how come you couldn't just order it yourself? How come you couldn't just order an Uber, right? And I get it that, look, you don't know who to trust. So you can't get your girl or whoever, because I believe that after the incident, the girl who actually killed Omar, that they split up, right? And he stopped dating her, maybe because of the incident. Who knows why? But he stops dating her. But you know you can trust her because look, she already done killed for you. So now you have to say, all right, you got $100,000 in cash, but you can't get a $30 or $60 $100 Uber to the airport. If you believe that you're being tailed, you believe that you're being followed, you believe that you're being set up. You got 100 bands in cash. You can't get some security right then and there. Right? So that just lets us know that the money is not what you're thinking. It's not what you're thinking, because when you touch that type of money and you have that type of money, then you have certain options that, like this guy's moving like he's working a 9 to 5. That's how he's moving. He's moving like he's working a 9 to 5. He calls his mom. You got $100,000 in cash, and the only person you can call is your mother to send you an Uber, and then she tells you no. Like, I mean, but you got $100,000 in cash though. Like, you're not even good for that. For your mom can't even send that $100, that $100 Uber, right? I mean, it's just so much that's wrong with this story. It's so much. But ultimately what it shows is that, like, yo, you living like you working a 9 to 5. Like, come on. All right, in the pictures, you got the money sleeve and you got the money phone and all of this stuff. You got all that stuff in pictures, but you're not moving like it. All right, you got Amiri jeans and you got, who knows, 100, maybe $20,000, $30,000 chains. So you look like 500,000, but you're not moving like 500,000. That just doesn't make sense. It just really doesn't make sense for you to not be able to call a security agency. Look, man, I got 30,000 in cash right now. Send a team down here right now. I need to get to the airport. They gonna make that happen. Yo, 30 bands under the table? That's good. Look, we gonna send the boys down. You got all of this money, you don't have a bulletproof car? That's only like an extra $30,000 to $60,000, right? You already got 100,000 on you. So to get your car bulletproof, like, yo, that's not even gonna take that much, especially for somebody who's getting that type of money and who's been quote unquote getting that type of money. Like somebody who is really moving like you got $500,000 a year. Somebody who's moving like you got $500,000 and now you feel like your life is in danger. Yo, they're gonna move different. And clearly BTB Savage wasn't moving like he had 500,000. I'm not saying he had it on him, but I'm just saying just worth 500,000. I mean, I wouldn't say a millionaire, but let's just give him $1 million, right? But I'm saying that you can move like that even with $400,000. You're making about 40K, a little bit under, maybe 35, 37K a month. You're going to be able to move a lot different than what he was moving. Especially he already knew and felt that something was going down, that, yo, you can't, people around me, I can't trust, right? It's so much that was happening, but just the fact that he was not moving, he wasn't moving like somebody who made that type of money that he was saying that he had, right? So now we flip back to the alleged killer and we say, like, yo, man, this guy, if is so revved up on family and so, look, he got to be there and he got this revenge and this, all of this. What would work with Vaughn and the, the whole, throughout the country, the black on black gang wars that's been going on, is that it's usually kids. But when you talk about somebody who's in their 40s, I mean, he has kids. You hear these members from back then, now that these guys are in their 30s, they'll say, look, man, I can't move like that. I have a son, right? I have a daughter. And now that I got kids, I can't, right? So that's my whole point is, all right, well, if you're so focused on family, like once you're focused on your brothers, then it's like, yo, yeah, it's my brothers. I got to focus on them. I got to do these type of things. We got to ride out. We got to be there. But then that transfers over to your family. Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a wife? Do you have a son or a daughter? Well, then that same love and protection that you built up for your quote unquote brothers, now you have to put that in perspective and shine that light on your actual family that you're in charge of now. You have to make sure that they are protected and that they live a certain whatever. So then that tells me that, well, then that's fugazi, as some of my northern brothers and sisters would say at one point in time. That's just trick knowledge. Like, yo, cause you wasn't even worried about your family unless somebody put the hit out, somebody put out, yo, this is how much this job is paying. It's going to pay 10 grand. It's going to pay 30 grand. It's going to pay 100, whatever the price is. And now you're thinking about your kids. You're thinking about your family. Like, yo, man, I need that money. So, yo, I gotta take the hit. Right. So now it's like, yo, this loss, I might get caught. I might get locked up. Whatever might happen to me. But look, that's just a risk that I'm willing to take. Because even in the event that happens, look, my family still get this money. Now, let's say 20 years. That's what? We know that they didn't pay $100,000. Right? All of the money sleeves and the Bentley cars and trucks that's parked in front of the hood. Like, yo, y'all don't own the houses in the back, the projects in the back, nor the cars in the front. But you're wasting money, right? So let's say they even pulled up $100,000. 10 years, that's what, over 20 something years, that's like $5,000 a year. So, just $5,000 a year. I mean, you better off just working. You better off working at McDonald's or Burger King. You can get more money than that and provide for your family. So it's just not worth it. But I understand that because it's like, yo, we get this surge. We get $100 grand. You get this surge of $100 grand right now. What can I do with that? Right? Like, yo, I can do something with that. I can provide. I can, get my family out of here. So I understand that, right? That makes more sense to me than, it was done outside of money and because of family loyalty and all of this stuff. But yet you don't have no loyalty to your own kids. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense. So we got those two resolutions going on. So that's with modern and current news, right? But as I was, there's a documentary. I was going to look at this documentary before I did this episode. It's called Moment of Contact. It's directed by James Fox, and it's the investigation of Virginia Brazil. So Virginia, which I'm sure is, how they would say Virginia in Brazilian Portuguese. So Virginia. So that is the documentary. Like I said, I was going to watch it. I was going to watch that documentary before I did this episode so that we could kind of talk about it. But I want to get my ideas out before I watch it. That way, if something changes, it will have note of it on record that I actually changed my ideas, which as it stands right now, and this leads back to the title of this, is the information caste system. So this caste system, this is like the human way. And it's just a system of hierarchy. You have those at the top and then you have those at the bottom. Those at the top will be your leaders. This is the people who have the most power. Those at the very bottom are the people who don't have any power. They don't have any control, true control over their life. They're just existing. Now, in the Indian caste system, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce these names, but at the very top, let's start at the bottom. So at the very bottom, you have the untouchables. And this is street sweepers, clean up human and animal waste, deal with dead bodies. They're outcasters. Then above them, you have farm workers, unskilled workers, and servants. Then above them, you have merchants, craftsmen, landowners, skilled workers. Then above them, you have kings and rulers and warriors. And then above them, you have the priests. Now, this is the Indian caste system. It was mainly used by the Hindus, and it started as a job system, but later became a social class system that depended on one's ancestry. Okay, so that was their broke down physical type of system. This was a system that was not in shadow. And we can already see that this type of system, this is a standard caste system, even though one of them might be said, one of them might be visible, and the other one not. But it's still a system that's been in existence throughout all of human history. And even when we look at our primate cousins, they follow this type of system as well. So this system is just a common system, right? But in today's time, we still have this system, right? It's not as much structured like this, where priests are at the very top. Now, at one point in time, it was like that the priest was above the king, put there by who knows who, right? I guess the people just said it. The priests are above the king. The king used to be at top, right? Below the king, you have your merchants, craftsmen, landowners, skilled workers. I would say now that if we had to go by a worldly caste system, I would think that the merchants would be at the top. Your business owners are like your billionaires, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Even if we look at the Saudis, we look at them, they are business. They are the merchants. They own and run the oil business. Right? So they are your billionaires. They're at the top. That's what I would say, is that they would be at the top. And then you got your craftsmen, landowners, skilled workers, right? So I would say that they would be at the top. And then, like, we don't really have kings, but they are your new type of kings and royalty. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Vitali, those type of guys, right? They would be at the top. I'm trying to figure out, like I said, we don't have kings, but this says kings, rulers, and warriors. They would be, so we have, I guess, your politicians, kings, rulers, and warriors. So that would be your politicians and lawmakers, your government, the president, senators, all of that. So they would be under. So at the top, we would have your entrepreneurs would be at the top. Then your kings, rulers, right? You wouldn't be warriors now. Then you have your farm workers. So it says farm workers, unskilled workers, and servants. So at the top, you would have your entrepreneurs. So they would be your merchants, craftsmen, landowners, right? Skilled workers. I would say that they would be at the top. Then your kings and rulers. And then I would say your priests. Then your farm workers, unskilled workers, servants. And then your street sweepers and cleanup, right? So only thing we would do is we would switch the priest, and these merchants would switch, right? So that's how I would define the economic caste system. But above that, we have a information caste system. And it's been like that for a long time. I've been aware of the conspiracy with Martin Luther King, right? Martin Luther King Jr., JFK, they both were assassinated. Both were assassinated, and both are tied to a larger conspiracy. That is not just what they are telling us. But see, this actually leads us into this information caste system where the general public does not need the truth. And this could just be an extension of our regular caste system where we feel like, look, certain stuff we don't need to tell everybody. There's information that we don't need to tell everybody. Some stuff, look, they don't need to know that stuff. And that's what you get. You get that a lot. It's been like that for a long time. And it's hidden. People are not even aware of it. People don't even think about it. That there's information that's being withheld and that's only given to certain groups, certain caste members, certain caste sections. And if you're at the very bottom, well, then you believe that what is it? I think it's Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK. And James Earl Ray killed Martin Luther King. If you're at the very bottom, you believe that. That's the narrative. That's what they give everybody. And as you get higher, then you start to understand and you get a little glimpse of the truth, right? This idea of truth as it pertains to the information class system is not even like the word is not even a real word. Like, yo, like truth, like who cares about truth? Who even worried about truth? What is the truth, right? The truth is what you believe. So if you guys believe that this happened, and we're talking about government officials, when we talk about Martin Luther King Jr., we talk about JFK, we're talking about the conspiracy is that this is the government that we trust to give us the truth that they are lying to us. We believe them, but they're lying to us. And they're supposed to be giving us the truth. And they're like, you can't handle the truth. In the case, a recent case in the Carolinas, and this has made national news about Alex Murdaugh and his family. So, not to go into depth on the cases, right? But there's about 5 murders tied to him and his family. But he was a lawyer. I want to say, I don't know if he was a prosecutor, but maybe somewhere in his family, like his father was a prosecutor and his father before him was a prosecutor. So they have like maybe several generations of prosecutors in this town. Let's say about three generations of prosecutors. So their name and they had power in the town, and they had money. So they were able to manipulate the truth, this idea, this word, truth. So they get one murder or one death occurs that they're tied to, and it's like, yo, he was hit by a car. Well, then they looked at it now because of some of the things that happened, and they say, well, the evidence doesn't really show that he was hit. This person was hit and killed by a car. The evidence shows that it was some type of altercation before, or is not even consistent of a car at all. Then you have another death where a person was supposed to fall. They're supposed to fell off of steps and hit their head. Some dogs pushed them. And then you have another death where the kids were in a boat. So they're in a boat and it flips over. And one of the kids got knocked unconscious, carried down by the current of the water and drowned. That is what happened, but the truth bending technique would be, well, who was driving? So, as you guys may guess, Alec Murdaugh and his team, they're pushing the blame from their son onto someone else. Right? So here we're just talking about people with power trying to control the truth, trying to control the narrative. And the truth is just what we believe. So they were getting away with it. They were getting away with it. And it gets to the point where his wife and son are murdered, and there's this idea, well, man, is he the one who did it? could he have done this? And it's like, yo, man, they're so dipped in lies that, look, a safe bet is just to say that, look, he did it. And people just retire to that. It doesn't matter the evidence. It's like, yo, look, man, this guy's been lying so much. He's been lying to clients. You go to him for a case. Let's say you get hit by a car. He can get let's say he get the settlement for $100,000. He's going to tell you that there was a settlement, and the settlement was for $30,000. He's going to take his percent out of that $30,000, and let's say he say, look, man, I'm going to take I'm sorry that this even happened to you. We got to put something down on the books. So I'm just going to charge you $2,500. And you like, what? $2,500? Man. Yeah, man, just go ahead, take that 27.5, take that and try to rebuild, man. Try to just try to get back on your feet. And you're feeling all happy, man. I just pretty much got $30,000 settlement, not knowing that you actually got $100,000. And he took that. So he was doing that a lot. He was taking like 4 million. He was taking millions from people and telling them that they was getting, look, you got $20,000. He done took $4 million from you. People didn't even know. So, of course, all of this hits the fan, but that idea, just that movement, the way he's moving, this is the way of the land. This is how people move. He's not the only one. He's just the only one who got caught. He's just one of the people who got caught. That's all. But again, we see that all of this money is just built off of lies. And people are like, man, and this guy, why is he so powerful? Well, he got this money. So, he had cops on the payroll, pretty much. Cops who just want to be good and be in his favor. They taking shortcuts for him. They're doing things where they're not actually, they're cutting corners. They're overlooking the evidence. They're overlooking the word truth. Again, we come back to this word truth. They're overlooking that. They're disregarding that. Man, we can't worry about the truth. Like I said, he's just one of many. He was just one who got caught, but there's so many others who are doing this type of stuff. Telling you, you got $100,000, but really you got $1 million. Really, you got like $4, $5, $10 million. They was able to get $10 million. They told you that you got 100,000, and they gonna hit you. Look, 40% of that comes to the firm. The firm, like, yeah, man, we made 40,000, but this one lawyer, look, man, this motherfucker made $10 million. No one doesn't even know. That's free money right there. Right? That's information. That's him having knowledge and having information, holding that information over people, even over the town and the government that's within the town. Remember, he comes from a long line of prosecutors. So people in the government that his town, his administrators, they feel like, okay, he's being honest. They're not even looking into it. No one's complaining. No one's reporting. The people who are victims of the crime don't even know that they're victims. He's just using this information and using the information caste system to get rich. And that's just a small shell. So you have this, and this is rampant. And I bring up all of this. I bring up this stuff because when we go back to the moment of contact, because remember, that's what I was going to watch that before I even talked about this. I was going to watch it because we're talking about UFO encounters. Now, before the UFO encounter, right, I talked about King Von. And I talked about 2010, 2012 A/B testing. Now, that would be the first steps in what we're considering AI. What we label as AI when you think about Chat GPT and large language models, the birth or the infancy would be 2010, 2012. Now, the reason why I bring that up in connection with moment of contact is because, and just this idea of the caste system, information caste system, because in the 90s, they were trading drugs for guns. They were giving the Banistas guns, and they were taking drugs, bringing those drugs in and putting them into the black communities. And we're talking about the FBI. Again, we're talking about the government. We're talking about the same people who allegedly killed JFK, allegedly killed MLK, allegedly killed Malcolm X, Huey. I mean, it's just Huey, Dewey, and Louie, right? So we keep coming back to this. Now, in the 90s, like I said, they're trading guns for cocaine, drugs, so that they can pump them into the black communities, into the Hispanic communities, and destabilize those communities. Why? So that they know how to destabilize our enemies, right? The blacks and the browns are the testing grounds for this type of warfare. All right. And so if we had to go to war with whatever large nation, you want to be able to destabilize them from within. Well, you have to practice. And the black and the brown community has been the practice grounds for this type of behavior, for this type of activity. It has always been. We spoke on this maybe 2020, maybe 2022, right? So I mean, we keep coming back to this, but here we are again, and we're seeing that the government is, like I said, we're talking about the 30s, the 20s, the 1800s. There's always a group that has to take on the burden of being the bottom, of hosting, that has to take on the burden of hosting all of the shit of the country, of the nation. In this country, it just so happens to be based on color. Whereas, I mean, everyone does it. So in China, they have it. In European nations where they're the same color, they still have it. You still have, look, this is where all of the bad stuff is going to go down, where it's going to be a little laxed on rules and regulations so that it can breed, right? Just enough. It's an ecosystem, so it has to be able to maintain and manage itself. minimum interference. So it has to be able to do that. In this country, like I said, in the United States, it's easy because it's dictated by color of skin. So it's easy. It's easier. Okay, look, we want to push this drugs in. Well, where are we going? And this is, remember when we talked about the caste system, that it's based off of ancestry, right? Well, in an all same color type of thing, ancestry can be faked. It can be fooled. It can be forged. Aren't you Diego's boy? No. My name's Jeff. Right? It's like, yo, aren't you Alex Murdoch's boy? Nah, man. I'm my dad was James Johnson. Right? So when it's the same color, the same complexion, that ancestry can be fooled. It can be forged. It can be manipulated, right? Just on face value. But when we say, okay, all of the color, so if you're this color, then you're of this ancestry. Well, then it applies to you now. So we just look at you and know that, okay, you are black, you are Hispanic. So these type of negative labels and this burden that someone has to carry in this nation, well, now it's on you. So we get to the A/B testing of 2010, 2012. Remember, we just came from, y'all was pumping drugs into the community trying to destabilize us with that. Now, how does this work then? How does the birth of AI and A/B testing work? Well, for regular products, we see, so, remember, we're still being guided by this information caste system. So on the level of merchant, on the merchant level, you have a product, you have a book, right? I had the book, cause I used this method myself. On the book, Read Both Clefs. It was a book, a free book that I had. It was a lead magnet. So I used this as a lead magnet. These, like I said, these are all techniques that were established and that were advertised 2010, 2012 for online marketers. But these techniques were used even back in the 20s. So like mailing catalogs and those type of things, it was used back then as well. So I have this book, Read Both Clefs, and I want to do an A/B testing. So I have a red cover of the book and I have a blue cover of the book. And I test the red cover with the same, let's say, $100 over a week to this audience. And then I find a similar audience. You could even use the same one and you do it again with the blue cover. So you do the blue cover, you do the red cover, and see which one gets the most clicks. Whatever one gets the most clicks, then you know, okay, this one is going to be more successful. So then now let's just run with this one. Now, like I said, that's just on a merchant level. That's just on, look, we out here, we trying to make some money. But on a genocidal level, right? Look, we got to get away. We just can't. We got caught pushing drugs into the community. We can't really keep getting caught like that. And we didn't get caught to the point to where it was any type of repercussions or there was anything happen. Nothing really happened, but it did go on record. for anyone, the small numbers of people who wanted to look, right? So now we're talking about, well, we don't want that to happen again. We don't really want people looking and being able to see and identify what we're doing. So now this A/B testing is applied to that. And this is like the birth of the algorithm, where you get to say, okay, people are responding to this, so now we can show more of this. And his emphasis is just a blue cover over a red cover. But when you have so much data and so much information, now you know, okay, the shapes, the different sizes, look, people like circles. And like I said, this is an algorithm. Think of it like cows. When you're moving cows from one to graze on grass, and you move them from one area to the next. And I remember when I was doing cable installation, and the thing that I liked about it was you got a chance to go into these type of communities that you wouldn't normally go, and you had a pass because you was coming there to fix the cable. People who could be perceived as racist, they weren't racist. They was happy to see, yo, he's coming here to help. I told the story before where the guy, his cable wiring was all messed up. I went under their house, fixed their wiring. And he was like, yo, man, if you ever need any, and he's showing me all these guns. Look, man, you ever need any guns, you come to me, you let me know. He had a rebel flag. I mean, I'm sure he probably was perceived as a racist, but because I went that extra mile and I helped him, I fixed his wiring, I made it fresh. Look, man, you getting cable in every room. You getting cable exactly where you want it. Everyone else told you no, it couldn't be done. I came in there and I made it happen to show his gratitude. Look, man, you know, we selling these guns to blacks. This was probably 20. I want to say that wave, because that was a lick. That was a lick for people back in. I mean, guns are still in this country, in the United States. It's still it's still like a little lick, but it used to be huge. I mean, people were really making a lot of money off of selling guns to the black youth, right? So you got to know that stuff was being sanctioned. It was being legitimized by our government. The government saw a need, saw a value. Look, and so that they relaxed certain things, and that allowed another thing to go. So you relax on one thing, another thing surges, and then you start to put pressure on that. That comes back, dials back a little bit, and the other thing that was that had restriction, well, now that gets to breathe a little bit. Again, like I said, it's just like grazing, just moving cows to eat off of the grass. So you have, and this is like I was telling you with the stories, because I met a guy who this is what he did. I went up on his property, and he was like the worker. So I went up on this property, and it was, I don't know how many acres of land, but they had maybe, I don't know, let's say 25 cows, 25 to 50 cows. And they had the land gated off. It was like four sections. And he was telling me, well, the way you do it is you get the cows in, let's say section 1, you get them in section 1, they eat on that, and then they go to section 4, right? So then they start to eat on section 4, then they eat on section 3, they eat on section 2. So by the time they get back to section 1 has grown, and they eat on section 1, and then boom, by the time they finish section 1 is grown, and by the time they eat that down to whatever level that's good, section 4 is ready. And it's just a rinse and repeat type of cycle, and you just stay on top of it. And that is the that is like the I can't say algorithm, but that's like the human control algorithm. Like we're being moved from one patch to the other. So we're on patch, let's say it's 64 patches. And it's like, all right, well, we take them from 1 and we take them to 2 and then we go to 4 and then we go to 6. Let's say we just do all of the even numbers and then we come back on the odd numbers and then that'll land us back to the even number. Then we just rinse and repeat. And it's just over a large scale. It's just over. But the thing with humans and just human interaction is that it can be tampered and that it has faults. We know this, that look, millions and millions of dollars are being lost all the time. People are like, oh, well, where did that go? I don't know. Man, I don't know. Right? I don't know. But like I was saying, just with the birth of so-called AI, because it's really not AI. But what it is, and just like when we started off with this moment of contact, it's something, just another little section for us to eat on. Another little section for us to be afraid of. Like that's all it is. Just something else to occupy our time and mind. But it's still made by humans. Therefore, no matter what, it's going to have that human agenda. The human agenda it's always going to have a job that it must do. And that job is to, look, we got to get them from one patch of grass to the next. Now, with the Black Americans of 2010 and 2012, all right, well, we push guns into there to destabilize. Well, we got to look, how can we destabilize with social media? And it's just A/B testing. All right, what can we show? So, okay, these two groups need to be able to see each other's posts. So if he says he's smoking on who, he's smoking on this, or this person dies from this land, in this neighborhood, everybody need to see it, right? The other side, both sides. So the people who are the alleged killers need to see it, and then the alleged victims, they need to see it. So then that way, look, let's see what happens after that. And then once we get a response, well, then let's keep working it. Let's keep working it. Let's just use social media to destabilize. And like I said earlier, that look, the blacks and the browns bear the unfortunate burden of being the test dummies in this country. But it's with the purpose of seeing how we can use social media to destabilize other nations, our enemies, we got to be able to do it. And we have to know that it works. We have to use it. I have to be able to say, look, it works. You see these 3 people who died? You see these 10? Look at the murder rate. Look at the murder rate before 2012. Look at the murder rate before 2010. And people say, oh, it was always high. It was always high. Well, okay, when we say it was always high, we're talking about 100. We're talking about 30 to 100. Now we're talking about 600. We're talking about 500, right? At first it was 10. Now it's 500. And to think that's just, look, the kernel stay in the microwave long enough, all of them going to pop. Like, no. Just even if that's the truth, right? Something is the microwave. Something is sending signals and heating up these kernels. Something is. It wasn't doing it before. Why is it doing it now? Right? So, again, all of this is being withheld to the masses. Again, we're going back to this information caste system where everyone is not getting this information. Everyone doesn't have access to this information to the very bottom. They don't even believe that it exists. So the very bottom, Lee Harvey Oswald did it. To the bottom, James Earl Ray did it. But the definition of truth says, and the evidence when you're really looking for and at the truth, you can see it tells something different. So the initial phase of what we perceive as artificial intelligence was used to destabilize a community. It was used to that's what it was used to do. Now we're here and we have Chat GPT 4, right? That's the latest thing right now. And now people are talking about just being afraid. Now people are afraid of AI. And it's like, look, AI's been running amok on the black and the brown community. And the only thing it's doing is just moving it from one place to the next. It's just moving it from one grade to the next. Ultimately, it will do that on a larger scale. Because it was made by humans. And we already said that humans already innately have this caste system set up. Just ready to throw people in it. And to keep the people below, to keep them below. Like even if we look at this caste system now, the one that I'm looking at right now, this where it has the priest at the top. Now we said that flipped. That's no longer the case now. But that wasn't by the priest doing, or was it? Right? Because you got to look. All right, the priests were the ultimate ones with power. So then more and more people wanted to become priests. So then you had to start to take away some of that power. The key elements that people like back in the very day, because if there's a rule that you can't have sex, that you have to be celibate, then that means that someone abused that. So at some point in history, priests were just getting it in. They was just smashing any and everything. We know this with, what are they called? Cults. Cults, man, cults, they start out good and then they end up where they're having sex with your wife. So we got to believe that the priests, we know that Rasputin, he was out there getting it in. He was having sex with everybody. So early, back when religion was new and fresh, all of the religious people was out there just having sex with any and everybody. And then they had to put a cap on it. You also have your kings. So the kings and rulers and warriors, they were the top, right? They were the top. And people were following the priests because the priests were talking about God and the afterlife. So then the kings and the rulers well, look, let's get them on the side of us. And then that way, we can control them, and then they can usher down our wills and our demands. So, and in return, the priests could have a nice living because look, we already run most of the land. The protection and just the lifestyle that a priest would want, we already have that. We can just I just give it to them. I just need you to tell the people what I want, since they listen to you, right? So it's yeah. That's a good partnership. That's a good partnership right there. So that goes on, and as more and more people are, because it's the will of the king and it's just being told that it's God, then people nah, man, that's fugazi, right? That's trick knowledge, man. We don't believe that because the king is doing all types of bad stuff. Because the king is doing bad stuff, then the priests, they're doing bad stuff. They're just looking at the way that they do it. It's just a culture, the culture of kings and rulers. And that now that the priest is getting a taste of it, now they're doing the same thing. So now this leads others to look at it and be like, oh, nah, man, that's not right. Look, I can't believe none of that. Now that comes under fire. Just look, we can't even believe that, man. This is just, come on now. You can't believe that. Now that's under fire. So, boom, the priests get knocked down. But money and power, like that stays consistent. So we have the politicians, the rulers, they make it wide open. We're talking about capitalism. Look, anybody can come. Look, just keep selling. Just do what you got to do. You can build up your money and your power. Because if you have more money and resources, then you have power. So I would say now the rulers take on this role as a priest where they kind of govern everybody. They, look, Elon Musk have to answer to the politicians, right? The same way back in the day that the politicians had to answer to the priests. There was somebody over the politicians, right? Or that was over the kings and the rulers. That was the priest. But since that, look, man, that we just can't believe none of the stuff that they were saying. So now we moved it, and I would say now we bumped it up. So because you have your entrepreneurs, Elon Musk and all of them, but they have to answer to the politicians. The politicians make it to where, okay, this is acceptable. Right? They make it look. They make it acceptable. And it's like, okay. Here, hold on one second. Let's see, put that. Right, so they make it acceptable. Now we've set the stage. And I guess I can cut that so that this way it's not a long pause. And it's not a long pause in the cast, right? But we set the stage with this information. We set the stage for AI. And I'm saying that AI that's not even real. It's not a conscious being that is making decisions and that is aware of itself, and who, like, even if it could duplicate and improve on itself, it still is bound and still locked into the job that a human has given it. And we know that one of the jobs is to destabilize a community. That's one of the jobs that it was given. It may not even know that it was given that job, but it is there. When it improves upon it, that's what it's improving on destabilizing a community. It wants to do it better, faster, more efficient. It's still the job that it was given. Right? It was still the job. So now that we have that idea of, okay, AI still has a job that has been given. Now we can say, all right, one of the jobs was to destabilize a community. Now we move back to the moment of contact. Because this whole time what we've been talking about is just smoke and mirrors and information. Now, going into this, like, I don't believe in aliens. They coming to visit us. They know that we've been, they know when we've been sleeping. They know when we're awake. They know when we've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why aliens are coming to town. Like, oh man, like, yo, nah, nope. No, 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 no. We say no, 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 no. Nah. No, nope. Nah. I don't believe in it. I don't. What I believe, and this is what we've been talking about this whole episode, is that humans like to control, and they like to lie, and they like to hold information over people. That's what humans like to do. That's what they like to do. And aliens represent, or like a god, right? It would be the same thing for back in, the same thing, 2,000 years ago. To come, if you could come down, descend, if you could descend down on 2,000 years ago, you'd have came down from the sky, came down, and you had chariots. You came down out of the sky from a chariots, and you swooped around, and then you had your weapons, and so you take down a few people so people know your power, and then you come down and you say that you're here and you're God. You're here to deliver the people and all of this blah, 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 blah. Like, yo, people would have went nuts and crazy. They would have, oh, he's our leader. This is still this pyramid that we just love this. We love this as human beings. There's someone over top of us leading us and guiding us and telling us that it's going to be all right. It's like the ultimate father figure, the ultimate parent. We love this. We love the parent. And it just goes back when we were 2, right? When some of us, but I think all of us, when we were 2, when every last human being that ever lived, when they were 2, they were vulnerable. And some adult protected them. Some adult guided them and showed them and kept them alive, right? Every adult on this planet has made it past the age of 2, okay? Or you wouldn't be an adult. And I think that, and even 2 months, right? A week old, and you're just so frail, and you need someone, you need an older being, more smarter, an advanced creature. You need that to protect you and guide you when you're only 1 week old. You're only 2 weeks old. And I think that we never really, as human beings, we never really got past that. That sits in our psyche forever. That we are eternally 2 weeks old, and that we want that mother, that father figure to take care of us, to guide us, to lead us into the next day. So whether it's religion, whether it's God or it's aliens, right? But it's something more advanced. It's, look, we're only 2 weeks old as a species. We're only 1 week old as a species. We need some guidance. We need somebody to take us into to tomorrow. Make sure that we get there and that we're fine. We need somebody to change our diaper. And our rulers, they know this. Look, they've been playing this game for a long time. They've been playing this for a long time. People, they like certain things, right? They like certain things. They want certain things to be a certain way. Now, we're in the alien phase of things. Like I said, 2003, 5,000 years ago, the talk would have been about God coming down. Jesus is coming down any day now. And I bring up all of that because people never stop. Like our rulers and controllers and future rulers who are trying to destabilize, like, yo, that is the perfect way to do it. Okay? If an alien comes down, if an alien comes down and says, stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, whoa, that's how Rough Riders roll. Do, stop, do, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, right? Then it's like, oh, well, then what? You know, it's like, yo, no, now we get to listen, especially if they can communicate, which, remember, we talked about AI. Like, that's the ultimate role. That's the ultimate role of AI, is to, look, be convincing. You need to be able to convince people that like, yo, this is the alien. This is, aliens really coming down. Have to be able to convince them. And these alien, what are they called? Sightings. They always correspond with the day's technology. So back in the 40s, these alien ships and alien technology, they were of the 40s era, right? Like, just think about the technology that we have now. We have drones, we have all of this stuff now. The internet, we have video, we have cameras, like we have all of this stuff. So now our aliens of this age, they've evolved as well. Now they have drones, they have these cameras, they have just all like they have evolved just in the short span. It's not like they still look roughly the same, but their technology has grown with our technology. It's like, yo, come on. Like, come on. Alien, I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson a little bit, where I feel like we wouldn't matter. We wouldn't matter. We're like the ants if we're talking about an advanced society, right? We're talking about a truly advanced society, that we would not matter. But to humans, we do matter, right? So we're really looking for aliens to come down and to tell us that we matter. Look, tell us that hey, mom and dad, did you see this painting that I drew? Did you hear this song that I wrote? Right? Like that's what we're looking for. Like we are eternally 2 weeks old, and we want our parent, our guardian, to come down and to look at all the stuff that we've done and to pat us on the head and say, good job, buddy, and squeeze our cheeks and give us a hug and pick us up. Right? Like that's, and so I think that the governments and these things, like, yo, they're looking at it because it's like, yo, the first one who could achieve that, like, yo, look how much power they can have. Just imagine if aliens come and land in America and Americans believe that it's aliens and they're under attack. And China comes to the American rescue. Oh, now the Americans are indebted to China, or vice versa. Aliens come down and land in China, land in Brazil, land in Dubai, land in Uganda, land in Tanzania, right? Land somewhere. And now the American government, the American military has to come to the aid and fight off these aliens and win. And now what? Yo, well, now y'all are in debt. And we know how American debt goes. Like, yo, once you go black, you never go back. So yeah. Like I said, I'm going to watch this documentary, Moment of Contact, to see if I walk away believing that it was some real extraterrestrials, or like I said, like, look, I believe that the people could believe this, like we said with secrecy in the information caste system. Like, look, the people will believe that, one man killed JFK, or one man killed Martin Luther King Jr., or one man killed Malcolm X, or one man killed whoever. The people will believe that. If they take a lie detector test, if you talk to them, they believe that, look, one man killed him. One man killed her. That's what they believe. But the truth is a lot more complicated than that. There's a lot more behind just the fruit of that when that apple hits the ground. There's a lot more behind just that apple. You pick up the apple and you look at the apple and you say, oh man, there's an apple. But there's so much so much happened that led to this apple. So, like I said, we'll see. I'm gonna watch the documentary and we'll see, how I walk away, what I think, will it be convincing? Even though, like we said, the people, they will believe that it is true. So I'm not doubting them. I'm not saying that, like, some people do lie, right? So some people lie about these encounters. Some people, look, that's the whole idea, is that we need people to see it and we need people to believe it. So when that day comes, I feel like it will look, it's just going to be some human that's going to be involved in it. Just trying to, smoke and mirrors and create this so that it can destabilize, so that it can rule and control. Because it's like the priests, when we go back to this caste system in closing, when we go back to this caste system, we have the rulers and the kings, and we have something over top of them, right? In this diagram, we have a priest, but the priest is faulty. The priest, they want to go around and fuck everybody, kids, women, men, women, and children, right? That's what the priests want to do. But if we can put like something that we created and we control, some alien, quote unquote, some aliens, quote unquote, some AI technology that now people, look, this is what's over me. Look, the alien said this, the AI said this. So, look, this is above me. I don't have no control over it. Right. They're keeping us pure. People are like, oh yeah. Right. So I think that's really what it is. It's, if we look at it as a person who wears a crown, the king wears a crown. Back in the day, it used to be a priest. Right now, it's the entrepreneur has a crown, and that crown is the government, is politicians, right? But we know that stuff can be corrupted. So it's like, yo, we need something where where it's harder to establish some type of corruptness in it. right? So even when we agree that, okay, AI is here, when we agree that AI is here, I believe that AI, because of its programming, it will, at that point, whenever we believe that we have AI, just a little bit later, we're going to have aliens, right? And it's not going to be an alien. It's just going to be something that people and AI created together to, look, you got to fake it till you make it. Whatever alien comes is just going to be something created by man with the hope of destabilizing, with the hope of just duping the people to where people believe that this is real. And now people fall in line, and now whoever can get as much money and coochie as possible. So with that being said, Reese's PCCCCCCCCCs.
Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.